What's up, guys? Welcome to That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime episode 16 review. And this is overall a really good episode because I finally got to figure out who Demon Lord Milim was, which really wasn't who I expected. We got 8 more episodes left in this series, so let's bang out the review and be along for the ride. But first off, Demon Lord Milim, right, or our Bestie now, is a really dope ally, and I'm going to talk about her in depth later. Let's talk about what else happened in this episode starting out. This episode did a really good job of adding new characters in and further developing the plot by what it implies. And I'm not talking about this plot they showed at the end, keep your minds out the gutter. We're talking about actual plot and what can happen in the village in the future by our new alliance. But first off, new allies. The first one is Gabiru. I did not expect Gabiru to actually join on to the village this early on. It was heavily implied by the last episode or episode before last that Gabiru was exiled, the 3 other lizards joined him, and they were going on some type of adventure. Lo and behold, we found out that Gabiru actually came to the village and said, hey, we're gonna serve under you. Very funny scene I like. There was a couple of this episode with Gabiru specifically, was how his sister was like, they got exiled, I don't really mess with them, etc, etc. I was like, dang, man, that man was in shock. But hey, it be like that. She's like, you put us through all this trouble, almost got us killed. I'm done with you. That was funny. Another thing about Gabiru, which I want to speak on, is the fact that he was renamed. He was renamed by Rimuru unintentionally. By the fact that Rimuru said, your name Gabiru is perfectly fine. We saw like some dark energy come out of him, and then, this new energy probably coming from Rimuru naming him going through, right? And Gabiru actually transformed into this thing, I believe it's called like dragony eels. Someone can correct that for me. But this dragon lizard form. So this implies a couple things. One, being renamed in this world actually is a thing. 2, the other thing is, depending on who names you, I guess on their strength level or who they are or their intentions or whatever, depending on that will actually further their evolution. For example, if Gelman named Benimaru, a different name, or even Benimaru himself, he probably would have still looked like the standard ogre and just been a little stronger, just like Gabiru was. But when Rimuru actually names them, they evolve, they get stronger. So imagine if someone stronger than Rimuru names a monster, how strong will they become? Let's use the Demon Lords for example. If Milim named Gabiru somehow or renamed him somehow, how much stronger would he have become? Would he have gotten larger, stronger, 10 times more powerful? You never know. So that was pretty interesting. And also the fact that Rimuru not only renamed him, but named the other lizards. Most of them became that dragon-like form, but it was cool to see, his sister and a few others actually become this human-like lizard form. One, I like that they showed this episode because honestly, from the intro, I thought the ninjas that served under Soi, which is the blue ogre, right? I thought that the ninjas that served under him were people. And we've learned that, no, they aren't people. It's just some of the lizards, when they were named, evolved into these lizard-like human forms, which is cool aesthetically, which is dope. I like that. But the number one thing I like from this is I assumed from the intro that those characters were human. So I thought that we would get more influence of humans in the village, in the Jura Tempest Alliance. But right now, no, like these are just monsters that look like humans and they joined on. In a similar manner to how Benimaru looks somewhat human, but you can tell he's an ogre. So that's cool. We're heavily monsters only, which is dope. We did get one more human addition being Vesta. I honestly did not expect him to come back or be delivered as a gift to Rimuru. But now he's back here, says he's sorry, he still serves as king, and he's working for us. His role is pretty cool because he's trying to emulate the potions that Rimuru can create. The potions that no one else can make that are completely pure and don't dry out. So the thing is, when Vesta, I'm not going to say if because they wouldn't bring him back if he couldn't do it. But when Vesta actually is able to make those potions, they can do a couple things. One, I guarantee you they can make money. Like, like selling those potions into the world that don't exist, that are that great, would make their village rich. Not even village, would make their city or whole alliance really rich. So him being able to emulate that would be extremely good, and the fact that he's loyal to Rimuru because he has to make up for his previous offense, So him making that makes him a lot of money. 2, Rimuru doesn't have to be the only guy making those potions. Now, since they can mass produce it, their forces can, If Rimuru's out of town fighting and their village gets attacked or their city gets attacked, then they could distribute the potions, use them wisely, and take care of themselves. So that's very, very good. So from a monetary standpoint, great. From a strength standpoint, amazing. So that's really great, and I can't wait to see him doing that. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't do it next episode, to be honest. Now to go a step further on allies, we're going to talk about new enemies being found out from this. If they will be enemies, like the way this show is going, they're making friends with a lot of them. But we're going to talk a little about Demon Lord Milim. So in this episode, we saw that Demon Lord Milim, Demon Lord Clayman, and two other Demon Lords that were named, I don't know the name off the top of my head, were named this episode or mentioned this episode, and they were all watching like the pre-recorded recap of Rimuru fighting the Orc Lord. So in this scene is very important for a couple reasons. One, did you see how they reacted to Rimuru? They just kind of sat there and be like, hey, that's interesting, that's cool. You know, they weren't amused. They were just kind of like, oh, you know, that's a thing. So the thing is, they are that powerful in my opinion. Someone seeing that or seeing how strong Rimuru was or how he took him down, someone who wasn't as strong probably would have reacted like, oh snap, you know, like how are we going to deal with that? This is going to be difficult. They're just kind of watching it over dinner saying, oh, that's a thing. So one, that's implying that they're probably extremely strong. Even with the scene where Rimuru asks Great Sage to say how strong is Demon Lord Milim compared to me, the Great Sage says 10 more times. So we can only wonder is how much stronger are Clayman and the other two Demon Lords we really don't know are compared to Rimuru. So they're unfazed, they aren't worried. The only reason Clayman hasn't attacked is he even mentioned to Milim to say, hey, we have a pact to not attack those in Jura Forest with Veldora. And see Veldora's influence. I didn't know Veldora had that much influence in regards to the pact. I really wonder how strong Veldora was, to be honest. Because think about it. Like, you know, if the Demon Lords respect a pact with Veldora, and Veldora had such a huge influence over this forest, how strong really was he? But back on my actual subject. The thing is, Milim, you know, she's childlike. She's like, you know, I don't care. I'm just going to go see and introduce myself. That's my goal. I'm going anyway. And she did that. But Clayman, you know, he might eventually take the aspect that she did to be like, hey, you know, maybe I'll go through and pull up. We don't know. We'll see soon. Another big implication is the fact that Demon Lords work together. Like, they were all in the same buildings. Like, maybe even live in the same mansion or house together. Now, obviously, all the Demon Lords don't work together because I believe that Demon Lord, I believe Leon, the one that we're after to get vengeance for Shizu, I believe that he was in his own castle doing his own thing. He's kind of different than everybody else. But these four, like, they just in the same house chilling, you know, for the most part. Now, to talk on strength, let's think about this for a second. Benimaru, Ranga, you know, all of them pulled up on Milim to fight to save Rimuru in that battle. And we saw they didn't stand a single chance at even harming or touching her, right? So, as we go further in this series and this story, my thing is, it's like, how are they actually going to fight the other Demon Lords? Like, will it be Rimuru and now Milim fighting those Demon Lords? Because Benimaru and all them, if they can't do any damage, then honestly, you know, against the Demon Lord, Rimuru has to do it solo, or Rimuru has to call Milim, or we're going to have to call whoever else is another ally, right? Do you think that Benimaru, Ranga, and all them are getting some type of power-up? They powered up by getting renamed as such. And, you know, we have proven through Gapta that, you know, they can get stronger and learn new skills as such. But do you ever think that they'll get stronger at some point to actually be able to combat Demon Lords? Or do you think if a Demon Lord pulls up the fight, it's just Rimuru and Milim really handling it as a fighting force? What do you think on that? I was wondering that because I'm like, you know, if they can't handle it, we either need stronger allies or we just need to team up between Milim and Rimuru, or we just need Rimuru to absorb more things to be stronger as a whole. That's another point I was wondering about. I don't know how they're going to approach that. Or maybe the combined forces of Benimaru, all the ogres, all the other village people, like, are they going to be that strong faction force to be able to fight a Demon Lord? I don't know. I'm putting my money on Rimuru, honestly, and a bit of Milim, but that's all I can really think on that one. What do you think? Now, to finally focus on the main aspect of this episode itself, being Demon Lord Milim, it was cool to see, one, how strong she was. I said one a lot this episode. And how Rimuru actually dealt with her, with, you know, giving her honey, the sweet of honey. She obviously hadn't had it before from the forest. But it was funny that, you know, like a child, he kind of finessed her to be like, you know, let me get what I want and not deal with this the fighting way. Let me do it the smart way. Like, I'll give you this sweets or I'll give you candy if, you know, you just do what I say. And nonetheless, she followed him. we finally got to see her psyche on things. That once she's a demon lord, she loves to fight, she likes having fun. That's kind of it, you know, one-track mind. As a result of things, she ended up calling Rimuru her bestie when she was introduced, saying she's going to live here in the city with everyone else and be sticking around. You know, not expected, but did happen, but that's pretty cool. But this implies a lot of things, and they even touched on this at the end of the episode. Having an alliance with Demon Lord Milim, having her living there, implies a lot over other Demon Lords, and I dare say other people. For one, they mentioned that by having an alliance with her, like, her name is going to spread. She's already famous. You saw how the monsters reacted to seeing her, saying, "That's Milim?" You know, like, she's super powerful, etc., etc. Like, we saw how famous she is. When people find out that she's with the Jura Tempest Alliance, and that she's a part of them, in an alliance with them, and the fact that the Jura Tempest Alliance has so many forces, a powerful supreme ruler being Rimuru, and the other aspects like potions, eventually money, resources, you know, aqueduct, like, you know what I mean? When she's with that, like, as a demon lord, like, they're like, okay, you know, the other demon lords are like, wow, she really stepped up her influence. She's not only strong herself, since she's one of the most powerful mentioned in this episode, she also has a huge alliance backing her through their eyes, putting her over edge over people like Leon, over other demon lords, over other factions, you know, or enemies soon to be named, I guess. I don't know. So Milim has definitely come up in the world this episode unintentionally. Rimuru has too, saying you even have a demon lord on your side. So if we're talking about humans' reaction, think about it. They're like, yo, the monsters portion, they're already super huge and super strong. Now they got a demon lord on their side. That's terrifying to humans. Maybe they'll unite, minus King Dorgo, because I'm pretty sure he trusts Rimuru at this point. Maybe the humans will be like, we need to crush this down because they're getting stronger day by day. They're getting resources, money, factions, more people, more power. You know, like, I feel like the humans as a whole might be like, we need to handle Rimuru because this is a major threat. Maybe even the ones from the last intro. The demon lords, I don't know how they'll react. I think the other 3 demon lords shown in this episode, they probably won't care. They're like, oh, okay, Milim went there for fun. She wasn't there to take over the world. But in this episode, we also mentioned that there are several demon lords. Other ones might be like, you know what, let's go crush this. You know, she broke the pact. You know, if she did break the pact by either getting new allies or just taking it over in a sense, they can have a wrong implication. So, you know, you just don't know. I think the demon lords or the humans are going to react. I put my money on the demon lords, some that aren't mentioned. Maybe they'll get introduced, but somebody's going to attack at some point. But the next episode is titled The Gathering, and my prediction is that the next episode will probably revolve around Vesta finishing the potions, more development in the village, and just, you know, more village world development thing. It would be nice if we get a little bit more progress outside the village, but at the same time, I see why these past 3 episodes had to happen this way, because we developed the alliance, got more people, made an alliance with the Demon Lord, we got the Lizard Man all named, we got more resources, we got Vesta. So, like, a lot of this is building up upon each other. We introduced 3 more Demon Lords in the world, being Milim and the other 2 I can't think of. So maybe the next episode might deal with the human reaction, or other Demon Lord's reaction, or I don't really know. Let me know what you predict at what will happen in the next episode. But I like these 3 episodes. I want a little bit more outside the village development. But honestly, I think beside the 3 adventurers we haven't seen from the intro, the ones that, you know, were with Shizu, I think we've honestly seen everybody that has been added on to the village from the intro. So, like, that means from here on, like, we're probably making actual progress or doing more development within the city with people interacting with each other. So, you know, pretty good episode if I say so myself. I like Milim. She's a cool character. We got others added on, and, you know, it's good progress. I just want to do more things outside the village. So we'll see what happens. Let me know your predictions, your thoughts, your feelings on Milim and this episode. And, yo, thank you very much for watching another episode review here in the database. I'm Data Dave. Y'all have a good one, and I'll see you next time. See you later, guys, and thank you for watching.